Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for this demonstration of how to assemble the June rose. Okay, so you can see in this die set you're actually getting 10 dies within this collection. You've got the two small foliage leaves here that go with the rose, so it's all been built in size comparison, so it's lifelike. Then you get the two sets of 3 nested dies. Now these will form all the petals for your roses, so you can see each time you're going to get a different cut and lay these up differently. And then of course you've got your calyx here as well. So you can use all of these, and you also do get a larger foliage one here, one of your leaves, but these do have the embossing lines in. So I'm going to show you how we construct this, okay? I've done around about 20 petal cuts with this collection. You can do more or less, it completely depends, it's entirely up to you. If you were to do quite a full rose, you'd want to cut more. Maybe if you want to do a few rose buds, so you don't have to have the full bloomed rose, it's entirely up to you, whichever way you want to sort of build that, and of course whichever colour you want to build them in as well. So you can see here, a few of the petals that I've cut, I've done them on I think the shade of foam was Poppy that I used for this one, because it was quite a pale red, but once I'd actually added my inks to it, it popped, it stood out really nicely. So I'm just going to show you how I quickly inked this one, because I really want to get into showing you how I built it. All I took was one of the black pastels from Fleurs, okay? And because it's a deep red, it means that if I go around it, just around the tips like this, with the black, okay, all the way around the edge like that, and then I just went over it with my finger, so no particular blending tool or anything like that. I just literally edged it all in the black, and you can see that what it does, say for example this one, as I flip it over, I've done them all double-sided, but you can see you get the sort of ombre edges. It makes them far more realistic and lifelike. Okay, so I'm going to pop these few to one side. I'm going to start building it for you. So we've got the foam pad here. This is a Fleurs foam pad, and I've got some wire, and I've created a hook just up at the end there, so it means that as we sort of buff all our petals up to the end, it's not going to pop off. So the first thing I'm going to do is take one of the smallest ones and add a bit of hot glue. I'm going to shape it round. Now what I love about these is I've actually made probably 3 or 4 of these roses so far prior to this video, and every single one has turned out differently, so no two look the same, which means you're not only going to get a die set that makes you be able to make multiple flowers from it, but you can take these petals and make different styles of flowers. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rose. Of course, the way that this die set has been built is to be able to replicate a rose, but it's entirely up to you which way you want to take it. Now, the first one I wrapped around, the second one I've pierced through the bottom here, and I've just followed that up, and what I'm going to do is add my hot glue to the base of this, just like that, and pinch it round, okay? And you can see there we're starting to create, let's take that bit of glue off, we're starting to create that sort of signature opening of the rose there, okay? So I'm going to keep building this up with multiples, taking it round. Some of them, as I've shaped them, I've pushed them out one way and I've pushed them out another, which means each time if you alternate it, it creates different shapes for you. So I'm going to take a bit more of my hot glue on these petals. And when I'm creating a flower like a rose, my best advice would always be to colour both sides of your petal, because once you start to actually build the flower and you put all the petals together, you can sometimes see both sides. On some of them you'll only see one side, but if you do it so that you do see both, it means that you've got all areas covered, so you've not got any areas showing that haven't been coloured in, because it will highlight it if not. So I'm just going to stick some as I go around wherever I feel like it needs a gap, and you'll start to visualise it. As it builds up, you can sort of see where you need a filler, and eventually the petals will naturally start to bow out. So you can see there, if you wanted to just do a bud, that'd be fine like that, and you could just put your calyx and your foliage around here. So I'm going to keep building this up, take a bit more of my hot glue, and I just do like a little V shape at the bottom of the petal with the glue, lay it on like this, and just curl it round. Okay, so wrapping it round like this, and then as they meet in the centre, you can always add a little bit more glue just onto there like that, which means that it'll nip it really tightly. And also when you're using the hot glue on your foam and you're pinching it together, it helps it mould, so it will mould to the shape you're pressing it into. Okay, so I'm starting to continue to take my hot glue here, and then I'm going to work a little bit further up, okay? So because we're not creating a bud and we're creating a full rose, what I've now done is position this petal on the outside, but I'm moving them up ever so slightly as I position them now like this, which means that as it sort of fills out, it will open up. So I'm going to continue to use the smaller ones until I've got none left, and then I can work onto the bigger petals. And I think I cut around about 20 petals, 25 petals for this one. So there's quite a few, but of course you can alternate it in which way you prefer. So we've got another smaller one here. And of course, if you're then putting these onto your irons to heat them up to shape them, they do shrink ever so slightly, so you will vary in size every time, which means as well, if you're making a bouquet with your roses, they're not ever going to look the same, which is brilliant. So I'm going to shape this one. All I'm doing is using my finger and thumb like this, nipping it on this side and just pulling it towards me like that. Okay, so as I'm pulling it, I'm dragging it towards me, and that's creating that domed effect on the inside of the petal. Take my hot glue like this, straight underneath, and then we place it on just like that. And you can sort of see how it's beginning to form. I absolutely love it. I just think it's so therapeutic to do as well. Once you've made your first rose, or any of the flowers from the collection, you'll start to realise how fun it is. And you just lose time making the flowers. So here, underneath, I'm going to pinch that round and just start to build it up as I'm going. I can move on to my slightly larger petals now. So I've got some here that are slightly bigger. Okay, so I'm just going to add this one onto the side here. And I've actually left it inside this foam. So if I leave it pointing upright towards you like this, you'll actually be able to see, as I'm adding the sort of petals to the flower, the way it builds up. I'm going to take this one here and just start to add them on wherever you like. So you can see now I'm literally just positioning them underneath like this. So you can see there, as I've got the petal, I'm positioning it on the outer edge of the ones I've placed down already, which then means I can just build it up as I please. So I've got another one here of that second to largest size, a little bit of hot glue. And then I think I've got a space here, so I'll put one there. And as you're doing it, as they overlap each other, it sort of binds them all together. Okay. Another one here. There we are. Now we can start to work onto our larger sizes. So I'm going to take this one, place it on the underside like that. Some of the petals as well, if you grab the edges like this and just curl them through like that, so as you're holding it and you just roll it up with your finger and thumb, you can see there the foam is just rolling inwards. It gives you that really nice delicate curl on the edge. So I'm just going to roll that up, place it underneath like that. I'm going to add some to the other side. And it is literally entirely up to you how many you want to add onto your rose. Okay, so then as you sort of group it together, give it a little pinch, they'll all start to shape. Here we are. I'm going to add another large one on this side. And then we're coming to the end of our assembly here, because I'm quite happy with how it has turned out. So I'm going to put one here, like that. Okay, and then I think, before I glue one on, I'm going to judge it. Yeah, I'm going to put one more just there. So I take some more hot glue onto this petal. And I'm just going to position it inside there like that. Just hold it in place while it sets. So you can see there, I've got a few left over actually, but that is now fully assembled rose that is just absolutely gorgeous. You can see I've got another one here. They both turned out differently, but they both have unique features to them. And you can do really simple things with these, of course. If you just had a singular one, if you wanted to, you could just get brown paper and pop them inside like this. So singular gifts, really, really nice and delicate. But of course, a bouquet with this rose, they're absolutely gorgeous. So that's how simple and easy it is to put together a flower that has that much impact. And the quality of the flowers that you're going to create is just impeccable. So thank you ever so much for joining me for this demonstration, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.